It was almost midnight when Tyler pulled off the mountain highway. Fog clung to the roadside like wet cotton, and the temperature had dropped 10 degrees in the last half hour. He hadn't seen another car in miles, and his GPS had long since stopped recalculating. He was just driving now, trying to find somewhere, anywhere, to sleep. That's when he saw the sign, Hollow Pines Motor and Vacancy. The neon letters buzzed weakly against the dark forest backdrop. A gravel road led up to a 2-story building that looked like it hadn't seen renovations since the 1970s. The siding was a sickly green, weather-beaten and curling at the corners, but there were lights on, just a few, and that was enough. Tyler parked beside an old station wagon, the only other car in the lot. The air was completely still. No wind, no crickets. Just the crunch of his boots on gravel, inside the lobby. The atmosphere was ... wrong. There was music playing softly, something like a 1950s jazz ballad, playing from an old floor radio, behind the front desk. The wallpaper was yellowed and peeling. The carpet smelled like mildew and pine cleaner, and the only light came from a dim lamp, with a stained shade behind the desk stood. A man, or perhaps he'd just appeared there. Tall, bone-thin, wearing a suit that looked freshly pressed, but 50 years out of date. His namatag said, "Only Gabriel." "Evening, Mr. Langston," the man said with a smile. "We've been expecting you." Tyler paused. "How do you know my name?" Gabriel's smile did not waver. "You're the only reservation tonight." He slid over a tarnished brass key. "Room 103, first floor, end of the hall." Tyler looked down at the register. His name was written there, in neat, precise ink. He hadn't booked anything. Room 103 was cold. The heater hummed but didn't push much warmth. The bed was neatly made, the furniture sparse but clean. On the dresser sat a black rotary phone. No dial tone, just silence, as Tyler began to unpack. He noticed the closet was already cracked open. Inside hung a single garment, a gray coat, identical to his. Dusty, faded, with something heavy in the pocket. He didn't check, not yet. Instead, he shut the closet door, and that's when he heard it. 3 slow knocks from the hallway. Not at his door, but from the room directly across. Room 104. A room, he was told, was empty. A room with no lights on. A room with the door slightly ajar, just enough for the darkness inside to breathe. Tyler stood in the center of room 103, his backpack halfway unzipped. The closet door shut now, but whispering dust through the air. But it was the sound from across the hall that locked his limbs in place. Knock, 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 each one heavy, measured, intentional. Room 104 sat directly across from him. Its number plate hung crooked, the brass letters tarnished green, and the door, still ajar, swung just a little more open with each knock, as if breathing in his hesitation. Maybe someone checked in late, he told himself. Another guest. He stepped into the hallway. It was narrow, lined with identical doors, some clearly unused for years, locks rusted, wood warped with time. A faint flicker came from one of the overhead lights, buzzing softly like a trapped fly. Tyler walked slowly toward 104. The knocking had stopped. The door was open now, all the way, but the room inside was pitch black. Not dim, not shadowed. Completely dark, like a tunnel, with no end. There was no scent of fresh sheets or air conditioning, just the musty smell of something old, rotten, forgotten. He stood at the threshold and leaned in just slightly. "Hello." His voice sounded wrong, distant, like it didn't belong to him. No response. Not at first, but then from inside that darkness, the phone rang, not in his room. In room 104, an old rotary phone. Shrill, metallic. Its sound seemed to echo far too loud for such a confined space, like the room wasn't a room at all, but a hollow chamber deeper than the building allowed. Something about the ringing made his heart stutter. It felt ... wrong, urgent, but not meant for him, and then it stopped. A whisper followed, so soft it could have been his imagination. "Don't answer it." Tyler took a step back. The room swallowed its own silence. Back in 103. He shut the door and pushed the lock firmly. It clicked into place, but somehow didn't comfort him. He peeked through the peephole. Room 104's door was closed now, completely, as if none of it had happened. He turned back toward his bed. The closet was open again. The coat was gone, and on the floor beneath the hangers, he saw footprints in the dust, bare feet, leading out of the closet, and stopping right behind where he stood. Tyler spun around so fast he almost slipped on the thin carpet. Nothing. No one behind him. Just the room. But the prints were there. Bare, narrow, slightly too long. Each toe perfectly defined in the dust, as if someone had been standing just inches from him, watching silently. "You're overtired, imagining things." He grabbed a towel from the bathroom and wiped up the prints, then checked the closet again. Empty now. No coat. No dust disturbed inside. The room was quiet again. Still. Maybe even normal. If he let it be. That's when he caught his reflection. The mirror in the bathroom was old, a little warped, rimmed with tiny chips. But there he was. Same tired eyes. Same road-worn jacket. But something. His reflection wasn't moving. He stared at it, tilted his head, raised an eyebrow. Nothing. His body moved, but the man in the mirror did not. Then suddenly, it did. But it was a beat behind. It raised its hand slowly, like a mime, mocking him with a delay. The expression on its face didn't match his fear. It smiled slightly, subtly. That was not his smile. Tyler backed out of the bathroom, heart pounding now. The air in the room had grown colder again. The heater still hummed, but no warmth came. Just that stale scent of mildew, dust, and something else. Smoke. The smell hit him as he passed the bed, faint but real. Cigarette smoke. Not fresh, but lingering, as if someone had been smoking in the room just minutes ago. But he hadn't. No one had. He checked the nightstand. Drawer. Inside was a half-empty pack of cigarettes, unfiltered, a brand he didn't recognize. The label. Read. Look strike. Made in USA. EST. 1947. No health warning. No BARCODE. He picked it up and noticed something scratched into the wood beneath it. Carved roughly, with something sharp. "Don't sleep here." The phone rang. Not from the hallway this time. Not from room 104. It was the black rotary phone on his own dresser. The one with no dial tone. It rang once, twice. He stared at it. UNMOVING. Third ring. The mirror in the bathroom. He could see it. From the corner of his eye, showed his reflection walking toward the phone, but he hadn't moved. Tyler stepped toward the phone, pulse hammering in his throat. Ring 4, then 5. He watched it, listened, waited. 6. He reached out and lifted the receiver. Silence. No dial tone, no static, just dead air. He held it for a moment. Then, "You're not the first." The voice was flat, genderless, mechanical, but layered beneath, with something very human, like multiple voices whispering at once. Tyler didn't respond. His lips felt numb. Room 103 remembers. "They always choose 103 first. Who are you?" he whispered. "I stayed too long," the voice said. "Like you will, like he did, like the man behind you." Tyler spun around. No one there. The line went dead. Just a soft click. He lowered the receiver back onto the cradle, hand trembling now. That's when he noticed something he hadn't before. The wallpaper behind the phone, that same yellowed floral print as the rest of the room, had something underneath it. A seam near the bottom corner was loose, torn. He knelt, pulling it back. Behind the wallpaper, scratched directly into the drywall, were names, dozens of them, all handwritten in dark graphite or something darker. Dozens, all followed by a date. Some going back decades. Some with no date at all. He found one name that hadn't faded. Armeli, 1966, checked out. And beneath that, T. Morrow, -1979. Never sleep and at the bottom, written as if just recently added, Tyler Langston. He stepped back, breath catching in his throat. He hadn't written that. He couldn't have. But the writing was fresh. The graphite still smudged. There was a knock on his door, but it wasn't the same as before. Not slow, not deliberate. It was frantic, urgent, panicked. A slap of palm against wood. Then a voice hushed and desperate. "Let me in. Please. Don't let it see me." The knocking stopped the moment Tyler approached the door. Not because the person left. He knew someone was still there. He could feel it, like static in the air, pressure in his ears. He pressed his eye against the peephole. At first, nothing, just the dim hallway. Flickering light. Room 104's door, still shut. But then, movement. Someone stepped into view. Not facing him, facing away, toward the far end of the hall. It was a man, drenched, shirt clinging to his back, arms limp at his sides. He didn't move like someone panicked. He didn't move at all. He stood there, just breathing, a slow, heavy inhale, then a shuddering, wheezing exhale, like his lungs were full of water. And then the man turned, but not all at once. His head turned first, like something twisting far too far, followed by his shoulders, then his body, one unnatural motion at a time. And now, he was facing Tyler's door, still staring. His face was pale, bloated, with sunken eyes and lips tinged blue. Water dripped from his chin, from his sleeves, from the soggy paper namatag pinned to his chest. Tyler could just barely read it through the warped glass. Armeli, the same name scratched behind the wallpaper. The man took a slow step forward, then another. Tyler backed away from the door, heart in his throat. The knob jiggled once, twice. He grabbed a chair and shoved it under the handle. Stepped back, breathing hard. Then silence. No more knocks. No rattling knob. He waited. 10 seconds. 20. Then the bathroom light turned on by itself. Flicked on with a sharp click. Even though he hadn't touched the switch in the mirror, his reflection was gone. But someone else was in its place. Standing in the mirror where Tyler should have been. Armeli, mouth moving, whispering something over and over. He leaned close, focused. "Don't sleep, don't sleep, don't sleep, don't SL." The power went out. Darkness swallowed everything. No hum from the heater. No flicker from the hallway. Even the buzzing jazz radio in the lobby, gone. Tyler stood frozen, hands still gripping the back of the chair under the door handle. No light, no sound, just the crushing, unnatural silence of a place that should not be this quiet. He reached for his phone, dead. No light, no battery, like the place had drained at the moment the power failed. A low, almost guttural sound echoed from the bathroom. He turned. The mirror glowed faintly now, not from any bulb, from something within it. Like moonlight shining behind a veil, Armeli was still there, only now, he was closer. Pressed against the other side of the glass, both palms flat. His skin looked soaked, bloated like something left too long underwater. His eyes were open, bloodshot, rolled halfway back, and his mouth was still moving, but the words had changed. They weren't warnings anymore. They were commands. Lay down, sleep, let it take you. Tyler stumbled backward, hand brushing the dresser, where he felt something cold. A key, not his original room key. This one was thinner, darker, rusted black. Attached to it was a small water-stained tag, BASEMEN, that hadn't seen. A basement entrance, not in the lobby, not anywhere, but this hotel had one. It had two. Behind him, the closet door creaked open again. He spun, but there was no coat this time. No footprints. Just a hole. Not a normal hole. A gap in the back wall, torn drywall, and exposed wood, and behind it, stairs. Leading down, the air spilling from it smelled of rot and wet stone. There was no reason a stairwell should exist behind a closet. No reason. And yet, the key in his hand pulsed with a strange warmth. The mirror whispered one last time, "It's the only way out now." Tyler stepped away from the closet. He didn't care what the mirror said. He didn't care about strange keys, or voices, or rotted stairwells. "This is a hotel," he muttered aloud, "not a prison." He grabbed his bag, shoved his phone back into it, still dead, and yanked the chair out from under the doorknob. The hallway outside was lit again. Not bright, but glowing in a low, yellowish haze, like the kind of light you get from an old slide projector. Warm, but warped, and silent. No radio, no hum from the vending machine, just his own steps. The lobby was empty, the desk unmanned. The register, once filled with neat writing, was blank. Now, no names, no trace of his. The air smelled like burning plastic and dust. Somewhere, water dripped rhythmically. He pushed through the front doors. They didn't open. Not jammed, locked. He turned the knob, pulled, shoved, nothing. Through the glass, he could still see the parking lot, his car, the fog, the blinking neon vacancy sign, and something else. A man, standing by Tyler's car, facing it, motionless. He was dressed in a hotel bellhop uniform, faded red, tall hat tilted slightly to one side, but his skin was paper gray, and his spine bent wrong. One shoulder jutted higher than the other, like something had broken inside and never healed. Tyler banged on the glass. "Hey." The man didn't react. Instead, he slowly turned and looked past Tyler, not at him, toward the hallway behind him. Tyler spun around. All the hallway lights were off again. The elevator, once shut, stood wide open. Inside, pure darkness and faint breathing. He backed away from it, back toward the desk. Maybe there was a key, a back door, a landline. He ducked behind the front desk, found a drawer unlocked. Inside was a guest log, handwritten, all names crossed out, except one, Langston. Tyler, RM, 103. Do not DSTUR, written in fresh red ink, and taped inside the cover. A black and white photo, old, grainy, folded. It showed a hotel hallway, a man standing at the end of it. Familiar clothes, familiar bag. It was Tyler. Same stance, same face. And scrawled beneath it, in pencil, "He hasn't checked out yet. None of them do." Tyler pocketed the photo. He wasn't going back to that room. Not 103. Not the elevator. There had to be another exit. Fire escape. Loading dock. Kitchen door. Anything. He turned and moved quickly through the lobby, past the breakfast nook, covered in dust and cobwebs, past the fake ficus with yellowing leaves. A narrow hallway branched off behind the front desk, marked staff only. The air here felt different, heavier, like it hadn't been disturbed in decades. At the end of the hallway, he found it, an emergency exit, steel door, crash bar, exit glowing faintly overhead. He didn't hesitate. He shoved it open, blinding. White light spilled through the frame. For a split second, he felt fresh air on his face, cold wind, wet leaves. "I'm out." Then the light flickered, like a film reel burning through, and the doorway changed. He was no longer looking outside. He was looking into another hallway. Identical wallpaper, identical carpet, identical buzzing lights, but wrong. All the room numbers had been scratched out, just deep gouges in the wood where plaques had once been. He stepped forward without meaning to, just 1 foot over the threshold. The door slammed shut behind him. No handle, no exit sign, no crash bar. Just solid wall. Now, he turned in a slow circle. The hallway was tilted, just slightly, as if the building were leaning. The air smelled of mold, rust, and something sweeter underneath, like decay, masked by cheap perfume. And At the far end of this hallway, barely visible in the gloom, was another version of room 103. Same number, same door, only this one was open, and inside, just barely visible, in the flickering light, stood someone standing at the foot of the bed, not moving, just waiting. Tyler's breath hitched as he stepped into the doorway of the second room, 103. The air was thicker here, as if saturated with years of fear and despair. The faint, flickering light overhead cast long shadows that danced on the peeling wallpaper. The figure at the foot of the bed was motionless. Slowly, Tyler's eyes adjusted, and he saw it was a man, hunched, wrapped in that same gray coat he'd found in his own closet. The man turned. His eyes were empty wells, reflecting nothing but void. A faint rasp escaped his throat as he whispered, "You shouldn't be here." Tyler swallowed, trying to speak, but his voice caught in his throat. The man's mouth twisted into a sad smile. "I was once like you, the only guest, the first guest, trapped by this place." The man's fingers twitched. He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a crumpled piece of paper. "This is what they leave behind. Messages for the next." Tyler took the paper. Cautiously, the handwriting was shaky but clear. "Don't trust the hotel staff. Don't answer the phone. The basement is a lie. The exit is a circle. And if you sleep, you lose yourself forever." Suddenly, a loud banging erupted from the hallway behind Tyler. The sound of desperate knocking, echoing off the walls. "They're coming," the man said, voice breaking. "You have to run, before the night claims you." Tyler's heart pounded as the door behind him rattled violently. He looked back, but the hallway was empty, or so it seemed. The man reached out, grabbing Tyler's arm with surprising strength. "Remember me," he said, voice fading like a whisper on the wind, "and never check out." Then, as if swallowed by the shadows themselves, the man vanished. Tyler was alone again, holding the warning. With the knocking growing louder right outside, room 103. The knocking outside grew frantic, echoing like a drumbeat in Tyler's chest. He backed away from the door, clutching the crumpled note as if it might protect him. His eyes darted around the room, searching for something, anything, to defend himself. Suddenly, the door creaked open, just a crack. A shadow slipped inside. At first, Tyler couldn't make out its shape, just a tall figure in a uniform, dark and sharp, like a hotel staff member. But there was something off. The figure didn't walk, it glided. No sound except the soft whisper of fabric sliding across the floor. The flickering light made its face impossible to see. Like a shadow hiding behind a mask of darkness, the figure spoke, voice smooth, almost hypnotic. "Welcome back, sir. We've been expecting you." Tyler's blood ran cold. "Who? What are you?" The figure smiled, slowly, impossibly wide. "Just your friendly hotel staff, here to help you check out." The lights flickered again, plunging the room into brief darkness. When the light returned, the figure was closer, inches from Tyler's face. "Check out," it repeated, "or stay forever." Tyler's hands shook. He gripped the note tighter, then suddenly ripped it in half. The staff figure's smile twisted into a snarl. "You can't run from this place. The hotel chooses, and tonight, you're the guest of honor." The door slammed shut behind the figure. Tyler was alone again. But now, the room seemed smaller, the walls closing in. From the closet, a faint scraping sound began. Something, or someone, was coming out. Tyler's breath hitched as the scraping grew louder, like nails dragged slowly across wood. The closet door, once closed tight, now creaked open, inch by agonizing inch. A shadow emerged from the dark inside, long, thin fingers reaching out. First, then a pale, twisted face materializing like smoke. The figure stepped into the flickering light. It was the coat, or rather, the man who'd worn it. His eyes were hollow pits, black as tar. His mouth stretched wide in a silent scream. Tyler stumbled back, tripping over the bedpost. The figure moved forward, but not walking, floating just above the ground, an unnatural glide that left a trail of cold behind. "You took my coat," it hissed, voice like the rustle of dead leaves. Tyler scrambled backward, heart pounding. "I didn't mean to." The figure reached out, fingers brushing Tyler's arm. The cold burned like ice. Suddenly, images flashed through Tyler's mind, memories not his own. A man trapped behind walls, screaming silently, fading away into nothingness. Endless corridors, empty rooms. The coatman's whisper filled the room. "Stay awake, or join me." Tyler's eyes snapped open. The vision vanished. The figure was gone, but on the floor, where the coat had been, lay a small, old-fashioned key. It was engraved with the number 666. Tyler gripped the cold key tightly, heart hammering like a drum in his chest. The room felt suffocating, as if the walls themselves were closing in. He glanced at the closet door. It was firmly shut now, but the silence it left behind was heavy, filled with unseen eyes watching. Taking a deep breath, Tyler moved toward the bathroom mirror one last time. His reflection stared back live, yet somehow hollow. Then, with a shudder, the mirror rippled like disturbed water, revealing a dark passageway beyond the glass. His fingers tingled as the key pulsed with warmth in his palm. He knew what he had to do, with shaking hands. Tyler inserted the key into the bathroom door, locked the one he hadn't noticed before, hidden in the woodwork. The lock clicked open, and the door creaked inward, revealing a narrow staircase spiraling down into darkness. The voice from the phone whispered faintly in his mind, "Don't sleep, don't check out, but you must leave." Tyler descended the stairs, the cold air growing thicker with every step. The walls were damp, lined with peeling wallpaper, and the faint sound of whispering followed him like a shadow. At the bottom, he reached a heavy steel door marked exit. The key glowed bright, and with a final turn, the door swung open, blinding. Sunlight flooded in. He stepped through, but instead of the parking lot, Tyler found himself in a vast, empty hotel lobby immense, with no end in sight. Hundreds of doors lined the walls, all numbered 103. Behind him, the door slammed shut, and somewhere in the endless halls, a voice echoed, chilling and eternal, "Welcome to your forever stay."